And we're back. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and let's do this. I'm wearing Foxy's favorite shirt, the good old grandpa's Sunday shirt. What's up, Foxy? Good to see you. My girl Tiff, big shout out to you. Mama Pearl's in the house. Mama Pearl received a gift today from my girl Tiff, and Mom, that's Tiff right there. So I tried to explain the dynamics of the guilty of crime family, and she's definitely getting it. But thank you, my girl Tiff, for all that you do, guys. She does a lot. She helps me get ready for my episode. She helps me organize my thoughts. She puts collages together. She does merchandise, and she does a good job at all of the things. I don't know how, but thank you, Tiff. I appreciate you so very much. All right, let's get started with Dahlia X. She's going to be on the rewatch crew, but I want to thank you, Dahlia, for the 249 super sticker. And then Kathy, hit that like, show Jay and Mod some love. I got to tell you guys, today I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm giving you a major trigger warning. All right, major. And thank you, True Crime Files. Kathy, you guys know what to do. Drop your link in chat. Flojo TV, the creators, you know the deal and the drill. All right, guys, today we're talking about how Jarvis Butts died in prison and where Naziah Harris is, if she's ever going to be found, and what the family thinks. And I've got to tell you, I've been covering this case since the beginning, guys, and this is totally Madeline Soto 2.0, we'll say. And I only say 2.0 because or it's equivalent. I can't say much of that because the time frame that this has been going on, Madeline Soto actually happened after this. And this little girl, Naziah Harris, did not, in my opinion, get the justice that she deserves. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, we're going to do the backstory, and I'm going to tell you the everything else, because you're like, wait, Jarvis Butts died in prison. Where's Naziah? Who is that? What are we talking about? So first things first, in my description, you'll see my girl, Shanitra Speaks. Oh, best coverage. What she does is phenomenal. All right, so shout out to her. If you want to go follow the other cases that are in real time, she does these bam, bam, bam. She knocks them out, and they're not a live stream. All right, so we need justice for Naziah Harris. Her monster, her killer, her rapist took a plea deal, guys. He took a plea deal. He took the easy way out with the plea deal, and he promised to give us her body. So I'm going to get into that. He promised to give us her body after he tortured her for years, along with other children of his own. He's one of the biggest pedos and cowards I've ever seen. He's a human piece of garbage, guys. All right. Clark, love you, girl. I hope you're feeling good. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat or super sticker. Gracie, how you doing? Krista's in the house. India Shum, Sadie's mama. How y'all doing today? Good to see you guys. Mama Pearl's in the house. Sint's in the house. Kel's in the house. Tiff's in the house. All right, guys. What's up, Cheryl from Michigan? Yeah, this guy's a monster. If you guys don't know about this case, you're going to know about it today. However, you might want to go back onto my playlist that I've been covering since this happened to find out everything that went down in the dynamics, because the family, it's the oddest thing that the family says they'll miss this monster. And they also went on the stand and they said some things that are a bit it's just so sideways and backwards, because in my opinion, his family helped him to commit these crimes and maintain these relationships with children, his own family, his own children. All right. Well, you'll see what I mean when I got the charging documents. I've got his plea agreement and what his sentence is. And then after we get to the plea agreement and the sentence, then we're going to talk about him being found dead, what his family's saying, and Detroit police still searching for the body of Naziah Harris, which is odd too, guys. It's real odd because 2 years prior, they were looking exactly where he told them to look. And that was all before they gave him a plea deal. All right. I wish they wouldn't have given him a plea deal. Maybe we would have found out more. But we're going to get into it, guys. Good to see you guys. How you doing? One love. Good to see you. I hope you're caught up on this. Jarvis Butts took his own life. They knew they were about to harvest Butts in the pen. Jamie Dow, good to see you. Tracy and Mary Joy, Eastern Girls Crafting, how you doing? It's definitely another sad one, but at the same time, we need to find Naziah's body and put her to rest. So, I mean, these are all sad cases, and this certainly didn't get the coverage that Madeline Soto got, and it's very equivalent to it. So, good to see you. Oh, yeah. Grace Kirk, how you doing? I love that you called me Gracie. Please keep calling me that. All right, Gracie, you got it, my friend. You got it. Cheryl, they love to plea in Detroit, and they don't want to go to trial. All right, we need justice for Naziah Harris, and we're still looking for her body. So I want you guys to know that is happening. And let me just give you some of the just facts of the case. Let me show you this monster here took his own life. What led up to that? All right. What led up to him taking his life only 2 weeks after he was sentenced? Now, this is the Naziah Harris and Jarvis Butts case. Okay. This is a Detroit man, Jarvis Butts, convicted and sentenced in March 2026. Guys, we're in March 2026. That's the last day. He was just sentenced for killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, who also went reported missing in January of 2024. So we're right there with the Madeline Soto case. All right. So we're going to just give you the quick backstory. There is his intake booking information as he was in the process. He was just sentenced and he was in the processing center of the prison when they found him dead. But guys, this guy's a coward because when we see the details of the plea deal and when you guys see the actual charges that he was sentenced for and convicted of, and then to top it off, how he acts in court, etc. Oh, we're gonna get there. Don't worry, Claw. We're gonna get there. Right now, the cause of death is self-inflicted, and we don't know if there was another cellmate in there or not. Yes, combination of charges, and his last name was not going to last long in prison. Well, this guy's wasn't going to last long in prison because he is a coward. And when you see him, even in the sentencing phase, any part of any phase, this guy is almost childlike. When you see him in the picture there, that was just his booking. That was biggest coward, biggest waste of human space ever, except for we need to find Naziah Harris. Now, I'm visual like you are. So before I start reading and getting into too much, let me just tell you, this is January 2024. Naziah Harris, 13 years old, went missing. All right. Now, Jarvis Butts pled guilty in February of 2026 to multiple counts across 6 separate cases, including second degree, big capital M, and Harris's death, as well as several counts of criminal sexual conduct involving other young victims, including his own children. Now, he was sentenced March 12th, which was a little bit over 2 weeks ago, 2026. He was sentenced to 35 to 60 years for second degree with additional concurrent terms. All right. Concurrent meaning one after the other. So 35 to 60 years and then an additional 10 to 15 on other multiple sexual assault convictions. 2 weeks after sentencing, Butts was found dead in a Michigan corrections facility. Officials reported the death as an apparent, the big S word, and the matter is under investigation. All right. It's under investigation. All right, this guy's just a pure coward. So let's pull this down real quick and put this up so you guys can visualize this with me. All right, today's March 31st, 2026. March 26th, breaking news. This was 5 days ago. This pedo who took the life brutally of a 13-year-old, and she was pregnant, by the way, 13-year-old little girl, Naziah Harris, after getting her pregnant, has died in prison just 2 weeks after sentencing. Now, you'll see him the whole time. He cowers. He acts like a child. He's very childlike in the way that he acts, moves, and hides. Now, I assure you, it's not COVID, and he hid his mask during the preliminary hearing, during the sentencing, during everything. And I'm going to show you later because the judge also recognized that he's a freaking human waste of space and a coward, along with some of those family members that were giving impact statements. Those people make me sick because, in my opinion, they knew and they helped him to facilitate getting rid of Naziah's body. And guys, it's under speculation that he was trying to provide a home version of an abortion. It's speculated that he was trying to give Naziah Harris an abortion, and his mom and her aunt and family members knew she was pregnant, 13 years old. His family member, he was already diddling other children, including his. You'll see in the charges, okay? And they tried to do a home abortion. Panda Ann says, I just seen his sister claimed his body and is giving him a proper burial. I'm pissed about all of this. How does that motherfucker get a funeral, but an innocent baby can't have her funeral and she can't be claimed and laid to rest? That was part of the plea deal, Panda Ann. That was part of the plea deal. So I ask you, will they ever find him? And I'm going to get this back up so I can tell the story of not only what happened, but of this 43-year-old coward that was found dead in his cell at Charles Egler Reception and Guidance Center in Jackson, Michigan. Now, guys, he would have been serving 60 plus years for the murder and all of the other raping charges, which I'll show you. But prison staff says they tried to provide life-saving measures, which were unsuccessful, and state police are investigating his death as, well, unaliving. I'm not trying to use that word. All right. He was also sentenced back to back for 10 to 15 years for assaulting other children. Children as young as 4 years old. Okay. Let's watch this freaking coward for a minute.
Jarvis Butts sat stoically in a green jumpsuit, a mask covering his face, his arms and legs shackled as one by one women spoke of the impact the 43-year-old.
Again, this is very graphic, so trigger warning. This probably won't get in the algorithm. So for days like this, if we can make it to the goal, that would be awesome. If not, we still want to like, share, subscribe, and make sure it gets into the algorithm so people know that Naziah Harris still needs to be found and that justice needs to be served. There's a lot of people, when I covered this case, that are from the Detroit area that knew somebody in the Naziah Harris family or Jarvis Butts. There's a lot of people here when I covered this case initially. So please, let's be as loud as we can about this and the justice she deserves. Now, this grandma, in my opinion, is just playing poor me because she contributed, in my opinion, to the demise of her own granddaughter. As a matter of fact, she decided not to call law enforcement when Naziah went missing, but to wait the next day for a 13-year-old. Yes, Sadie's mama. Fake crocodile tears right here.
Child predator has had on their lives. Butts will spend the next 35 to 60 years in prison for killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, bringing it into years of terrorizing young girls. A number of people were ejected after an argument broke out. Harris's grandmother, Annette Harris, her aunt, Marquita Harris, along with Butts' sister, Tijuana, as well as
so many of these people, guys, and you're going to see that they say they'll miss him. They didn't want him to die. This guy is one of the worst monsters I've ever seen. Again, please trigger warning. Don't worry, Pam. We just got started, my friend. In my opinion, they tried to do a home abortion. She was 13 years old, and everybody knew about it, and they allowed it to happen.
Some of Butts' previous victims, all giving powerful impact statements.
My brother knows that I've been victim
BS.
of sexual assault, and he knows the pain that caused. I can't understand.
Guys, I want you to understand that he does this the entire time from the preliminary hearing until now. Now, this has been brought to us since it happened. We've been covering this since 2024 when Neziah Harris was reported missing from Detroit Police Department. All right. Now, searches and public appeals happen, but when grandma that we just saw talking knew she was missing, she waited till the next day. Okay, so January 2024, Neziah Harris was presumed dead at that time. Now, between 2024 and 2025, investigators developed leads that eventually connected Jarvis Butts to Harris's disappearance, and then separate sexual assault allegations involving other victims. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to show you the charging documents and his plea deal. So February 12th, this year, Butts enters a guilty plea in 6 separate cases during a pre-trial hearing, including second degree in Harris's death. All right. Now, listen, as part of this plea agreement, prosecutors say Butts had to provide a truthful statement about the location of Neziah Harris's body. The exact location has not been publicly released as of yet. So fast forward a month later, and this monster's getting sentenced, and you're going to see, I'm going to show you a bit of that.
Why he would want to cause that to an innocent child.
Butts sat silently, saying nothing when given a chance to speak at the end. Butts and Harris knew each other because he was the father of her cousins. She disappeared on January 9, 2024, when she didn't return home from school. Butts, whose criminal history goes back to 1997, had a history of targeting and befriending women, then getting close to them before eventually grooming.
I don't think they said that right. I think they meant to say little children, because he was not into women at all. He only used women to get to their children, including family members. Okay. And when you see the women that he dated and courted and tricked, they just let him. They handed their children over to him, in my opinion. All right. This girl, Neziah Harris, didn't have a chance.
And sexually abusing their daughters. And it appears that all that may have finally ended with him being let out of that courtroom in shackles.
I hate you. I wish nothing but the worst for you. I despise you.
Then how do you miss him? He literally tore your family apart. This monster tore the family apart, killed Neziah along with the baby, and ruined his children. And they miss him? What is happening here? What is happening here, period? All right, take a look at this coward, and then I'm going to read you the documents, show you the plea deal, and all of that jazz. We're not even watching the whole thing. I just want you to see what a coward he is. Now, the judge asks him if he wants to say anything. He blinks a bunch of times, but he never says a word.
So I'll go case by case, Mr. Butts. I'm going to start with file 25000218018H.
Now, guys, I have a feeling people were waiting for him, and he didn't even make it to prison. He was unalived, and I say he's unalive because I think somebody did that to him. They have not released the actual autopsy findings. However, we know prison systems and jail systems are just as corrupt as the people that run them.
Mr. Butts, for the offense of homicide, murder, and second degree.
Hey, Shadow.
The court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement, 35 to 60 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Much love.
Do not have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Annette Harris or any family members of Neziah Harris. It's either directly through yourself or through a third party that includes all forms of social media as well. You're not to be within 500 feet of
He's almost childlike. I mean, he looks like he wouldn't hurt a fly. Thank you, N. Bryden, for being a member for 13 months, and Foxy for gifting that membership. If you received the membership, please thank Foxy. All right. And guys, we're just getting started. Bestie, good to see you, my friend. I think you were here in those days. You were here in the days of Neziah Harris.
The residence, school, or place of employment. I have to assess $130 for the crime victim's assessment on that file, and I have to assess $68 state costs on that file as well. The term and condition of that sentence agreement, and also to make a truthful statement regarding the location and body of Ms. Harris.
Okay, so he was supposed to give the location, and we're going to get into this one too, but first I'm going to give you the charging documents and tell you what happened. All right, he was supposed to give the location of the body. I don't know why they went through with the plea deal before they got him out there, but this is what Jarvis is sentenced to, and then I'll show you the plea deal, which you see here on the right, and the defendant's sentence. All right, Jarvis Butts is sentenced in the homicide of Neziah Harris. Now, this took place on March 12th, 2026. That was only 2 weeks or so ago. All right, everybody with me? And don't worry, you know how we do with our shows. We got something, so buckle up, buckle in, grab a drink, grab a snack, make yourself comfortable, because on March 12th, this afternoon, Judge Nicholas Hathaway, which you just saw a moment ago, sentenced defendant Jarvis Butts to 35 to 60 years for second-degree M of 13-year-old Neziah Harris. He was also sentenced on 5 other criminal actual conduct cases. Now, you're going to hear a lot of the words of sexual abuse. I'm just trying to cut down on them as much as I can because it's triggering. One of the most important aspects, guys, of this plea agreement was giving Neziah's family some semblance of closure and justice. Now, the disclosure of the location of her body was crucial. As a condition of his plea to the second-degree murder case, Jarvis Butts was required to give a truthful statement regarding the body of Neziah Harris. We are satisfied with the statement he has given said prosecutor Kim Worthy. Now, the prosecutor is the one that brought this case forward. Okay. Now, I want you to know that there were many, 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 many warning signs, and I was going to show that to you, but I go back to my playlist because I'm trying to make this as much about finding Neziah and this monster sentencing and death. But they had so many warnings, guys, warning after warning after warning after warning about him doing this to children. And yet they still handed him over. Rose, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You do really good work. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, so listen up. That was part of the plea deal, and I want you to just take a look at this. This is his sentence here, and I'll show you the formal sentencing, but it was one and done for everything. He took this deal. First one was Neziah Harris, 13 years old. Defendant was sentenced to 1 count of second-degree murder with a sentence agreement, 35 to 60 years, to run concurrent. All right, there's consecutive, which means together, or concurrent, one after the other. Counts 2, 3, and 4 were dismissed. He may also not be eligible to apply for parole until he served 35 years by the state. All right, second count, guys, these are all female victims that are related to him or in the family. All right, so he took Neziah Harris's life after getting her pregnant and making her think that he was in a relationship with her. Then, in the same sentencing, a 7-year-old female victim. He was sentenced to 1 count of second-degree criminal sexual assault, sentenced to 10 to 15 years to run concurrent with the counts 2, 3, and 4 that were dismissed. Then we move to number 3, and this is a third victim. That's a 4-year-old female victim. All right, he received 10 to 15 years, and he got count 2 of second-degree actual assault for a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old separate victim. We're not even to the next charge, which was then an 8 or 9-year-old female victim. He pled guilty to 2 more counts of second-degree criminal actual conduct and another 10 to 15 years slapped on top of that. Okay? Counts 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 were dismissed. You'll see what I mean when I show you the plea deal. Then we moved to 13-year-old female victim, pled to 1 count, third-degree criminal sexual assault, 10 to 15 more years to run concurrent. And then another one for an 8-year-old victim, count 3 second-degree criminal sexual conduct, sentenced to another 10 to 15 years to run, not consecutive, concurrently. All right. The case was prosecuted by assistant prosecutors, Matthew Macepeak and Tina Ripley. And then we also have the prosecutor that decided to take a plea deal. All right. Come on in. Second degree blows my mind. You know what? Ordinary Supergirl. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Pedos run the world. And it sure as hell seems like the fact that they run the world, that they get so much of a break. Had he not taken the life of Naziah Harris, he probably would have got a slap on the wrist. Right? He dies in prison weeks after sentencing. This is the up to date when this happened, and then I'm going to show you his plea deal and the formal charges.
Now to our other big story at 5. Jarvis Butts, the man convicted of killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris and sexually assaulting her and other girls, is dead after weeks after being sentenced. His body found at a prison intake center in Jackson. Fox News' Lauren Edwards is live in Detroit with reaction tonight. Lauren.
Again, hopefully you guys are all set up to get this. This is a triggering topic. All right. So I'm going to tell you again, trigger warning. I'm trying to do the best I can, but you can't undermine when a child is raped and murdered. Okay. To me, that just sounds like I can't be like that. I can't be like the whole time graping and unaliving. It's just, it is what it is. He doesn't get a pass on what he did, but I'm trying to cut down on those words. Jax, good to see you, Jax. It's been a while. All right, you're right. I hate it. All right, let's listen up.
Rube, just as you said, Jarvis Butts was found dead, and this happening 2 weeks after he was sentenced for killing Naziah Harris. And just the location of her body is basically, at this point, it's a bit of a mystery. Detroit police are on it, but let's get into all the details because there is so much that you need to know. Now, this is the Charles Egler Reception and Guidance Center.
I wanted you to see where he was transferred to and being held. Now, here's the thing, Maggie. We just got started. They're investigating it. And not only are they investigating his death, they're calling it self-inflicted, but they're also not telling us if he had a cellmate with him. Now, I want you to remember, many times when we cover these cases, when they go into intake or they go into processing, they're not alone. They're with other people. So just keep that in mind. We don't know, and we probably never will.
In Jackson, it's a prison intake center where the Michigan Department of Correction confirms that Jarvis Butts' body was found 2 weeks ago. 43-year-old Butts was sentenced in the murder of 13-year-old Naziah Harris, sentenced to 35.
Now, guys, if you guys didn't watch the earlier episodes, I suggest you go back and check out the playlist. Naziah Harris didn't get to be a child. She thought she was in a legitimate relationship with this 43-year-old monster. Okay. We've read the text messages. They're very sexual in nature between him and her. One time he tells her, hey, meet me down in the basement and make sure your panties are dropped. Okay, daddy. That's the kind of shit. Again, don't quote me on those, but those are the kind of text messages that we had to hear about in the preliminary trials. All right. We had to hear about the messages, and it wasn't just one way. Naziah Harris thought she was his legit companion. They were going to have kids and get married and be her one and only. Okay. Yes, I know, but she was heavily groomed. Luckily, you guys don't have to hear that unless you go back to my playlist.
To 60 years. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and as a part of the plea deal, he was supposed to provide information as to where her body was. And Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says he did exactly that. Harris was last seen in January 2024, and prosecutors say she met up with Butts the day that she disappeared, and she was pregnant. Allegedly, Butts, the father of that child. And fast forward Thursday, MDOC says he took his own life. MDOC says the staff tried to save his life but were unsuccessful. Fox 2 spoke with Harris's cousin Roxy, who was out of town.
Oh, I'm sure they tried to save his life. I bet they did. Right? All right. Clementine, I do remember this, Jay. This is the equivalent to the Madeline Soto case. It just didn't get as much coverage. Thank you for sending that over to me, Holly. I will show that after. His family wants to give him a proper funeral. All right, and when I'm reading, I can't mod chat, so I depend on the mods to do that. All right, let's continue. We don't know exactly. I'm telling you everything that I do know about this case.
But what happened and the concerns the family still has.
We ultimately, want to still know where she is because we still don't have those answers. We just want to lay her to rest and things like that. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and him doing, deciding to take his own life was unexpected, literally 2 weeks after.
It was unexpected. These people are out of their mind. I would say do whatever you want with his body. Just toss it out. And I know he's got family members, but those family members knew what he was doing. What's up, J4A? Melissa's in the house. Thanks for stopping by and showing some love, girl. I appreciate that. Don't forget to hit that like for me. I know you don't have a shield, but I have a shield on your channel, and I love kicking trolls. All right, let's continue. It is confirmed. I have it right here that Jarvis Butts' body has been claimed by his sister, the one who spoke in court. She's giving him a proper funeral, you guys. Like I said, these people are hypocritical pieces of garbage, okay? They tried their very best to save his life, I'm sure. I'm sure they shoved something down his throat and covered it while they were trying to bring him back. Because that's what I do.
After the sentencing, he made his bed. He got to lay in it. I think it was a bit of a cowardly way out, but he made his bed, so he has to lay in it.
So again, the prosecutor's office saying that Butts did provide information, and then she referred us over to Detroit Police Department, and we spoke with DPD, and they say that they are investigating, they are searching for her body, and that they are looking into every lead. Please stick with Fox 2 as this continues to develop. Reporting live here in Detroit, Lauren Edwards, Fox.
Now, I mean, this is up to date right now, okay? And I'm going to show you that Ebony Baxter posted this, that they did release the body to his sister, and you guys will be disgusted when you start to hear about the family and what they did. Thank you. Big hugs to you, Melissa. Always the best for you. Okay. Much love. I see you. I definitely see you. I try to stay positive and on the light side, girl. But I'm here for you. All right. You gotta just keep trucking through it. All right. No matter what people say, don't give them that opportunity to respond. Thank you. Big hugs, though. Appreciate you. All right. And also drop your link if you'd like. J4A. I think it's just at J4A. She has a channel, just talks about feelings and whatever she wants. It's her channel. So it's just kind of like definitely not true crime, but we need a break from true crime sometimes. So I was unexpected, only quicker solidify my prison justice prayer. All right.
It's 2 News.
Yeah, Lauren, I know that obviously people who are being transported are being supervised. Any idea as to if this happened at a time that he just wasn't being watched or any of those details?
You really think they're going to tell a news source that he wasn't being watched or that somebody was in the cell with him right after he just got convicted and sentenced?
Roop, there's so many questions. That's exactly how this all unfolded. Those are questions that I have, that you have, that we hope to get answers about, when and how all this exactly happened. So all I can say at this time is that please continue to stick with us. As I get these updates, I will be delivering them.
Lauren Edwards for us live tonight. Thank you.
And same here, guys. We do other cases on Ghost, And Tiff does a fantastic job on Ghost at posting updates and things that I don't get to. All right, so let's take a look at this. It's going to bother you when you see the family later. Jarvis Butts' body has now been claimed. Now, this is 35 minutes ago, and I want you to realize that he died from, they call it self-inflicted right now. He took his own life, is what the prison is claiming. All right, Wolfpack says, I jumped from true crime to Iran coverage. No rest for the weary. I agree. Definitely. Nope, they're not going to be held accountable for anything. Everything was already said and done, my friend. But that's why we're getting this out there so people could know who these people are. Okay, so Nazia's body has not been found according to his plea deal. He was supposed to give her body up. It wasn't. Now he took his own life, and his sister wants to give him a proper funeral. May he burn in hell, and may God have mercy on his soul. Period. I won't be the one there. I'm not the one to judge him, but I'm sure that his proper funeral, if people find out where it is, it's not going to be so proper, guys. And I'm not trying to signal anything. I'm just saying, this is in Detroit. All right. Now let me show you the documents that I have. Real quick. All right, so this is what he was sentenced to, and this was his plea. It's a little bit, it's like a fax. So I just want to show you quickly. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to show you the plea deal that he signed, and I think so too. That's why they won't tell us if there was another person in his cell. We're never going to know. Look at how many victims he had that he was charged for. Check this out, ordinary Supergirl. All right, take a look at this. So this was his plea deal, right? There's pages and pages of this stuff. The people of the state of Michigan versus Jarvis Ramon Butts, right? This is them coming to a deal, coming to a settlement. Otherwise, we were going to go to trial. Now, listen, they did not reduce any charges. They say no charge reduction. That he's got 3 counts, criminal actual conduct in the second degree of 13-year-old to defendant 17 years or older, 15-year and lifetime. So this is what they gave him, the 3 charges for 3 separate. Now, when you look down below, look at the 6 other counts that they did. People to agree, they dismissed these charges. He took a plea deal to dismiss count 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, which I talked to you earlier about. And that was first degree and second degree of the sexual assault to those children. Now, why they moved it down to second degree and dismissed the other, it was only because, in my opinion, he told them he would give the body up. And that's why they gave a plea deal. Now, withdraw notice to enhance sentence, habitual offender, 4th offense, mandatory 25 years sentence agreement. He's up to 60 years plus all the others. All right. So he's agreeing to this, man. The prosecuting attorney's agreeing to this. 3, 10 to 15-year sentences, lifetime electronic monitoring, sex offender treatment, no contact with Janiyah Butts or family. He had Naziah and Janiyah. Janiyah Butts is also his family. Any restitution, if applicable, and other terms and conditions set by the courts. Everybody signed this. They gave their date and signature. This is the monster's signature, Jarvis Butts. He signed this on 2/12 and agreed to give up the body for lesser counts. All right, they offered him a plea deal. It says you have offered to plead guilty, and it's all messed up on here, but if your plea is accepted, you will not have a trial, and so give up the right you would have to include the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent, to have prosecute beyond reasonable doubt, to question witnesses, to have a court order, to witness for defense, to appear at trial, to remain silent during the trial, to not have silence used against you, and to testify at the trial if you want to testify. Now, I hope you guys are with me. We are going to get into everything else, the family, how they reacted, and you know, a lot of other stuff for those that are visual like me. Like, Jay, I hope you're not just reading a bunch of documents. No, my friends, no. But this gives you a better sense of the kind of coward that he is. Yes, Tanya, these were his own family members, one of them being 4 years old, which I believe was his youngest daughter. I don't think it was the niece. I think it was the daughter. All right. Now, we see these. He gave his part. He's a piece of garbage anyway. There's no charge reductions. They all signed off on the sexual assault charges in the second degree murder of Naziah with the particular sentencing guidelines. All right. All. He, of course, he agreed. Major deal was for him to hand over Naziah's body. He said yes. He told them where she was. They went out there, and right now they're not telling us the exact location, but we do have a good idea of where they're searching. I'll get to that later on. Look at how many pages that we've got. I'm not even reading anymore. That's how many separate counts and this in the settlement offer of the pages, and how many offenses and different people that he offended. We've got 4-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 8 to 9-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 13-year-olds. Are you freaking kidding me here? This monster didn't like women. He liked children. As a matter of fact, the judge even said she wouldn't put it past him to that if he also sexually assaulted the boys. All right. Which, I mean, hey, it's all the same, right? When you're a crazy pedo monster that can't stop yourself from doing it, why not attack boys, girls, whatever, children, babies? Imagine the children that can't speak that he had his hands on. $2.99. Thank you so much, Mama Sage, for that super sticker. You guys know this probably will not get in the algorithm, but I hope it does. All right. I think they used a guy to work, might know where I think the guy he used to work with, well, he told them, Deborah Brush, the guy that he used to work with is not going to tell. He's not going to tell on himself, so he's not going to tell. They're going to have to find her body, and they're continuing to search, but they're not telling us where. Okay, so anyway, here's the official. Let me just get to the get back to this document real quick. All right, this is the official defendant sentencing of Naziah Harris. All right, and they put a press release so you guys know that the County of Wayne Office Prosecuting Attorney, March 12th, sentenced Jarvis Butts in the homicide of Naziah Harris. All right, so that was what I showed you earlier. That was Nicholas Hathaway that sentenced defendant Jarvis Butts to 35 to 60 years for second degree M for 13-year-old Naziah Harris. He was also sentenced on 5 other criminal sexual conduct cases, all to be served concurrently. It isn't consecutively. That is BS. In the Michigan Department. I said it wrong earlier. Concurrently runs with it. Consecutive is one after the other. He might have got out, guys. Now, one of the most important aspects of the plea, you can see it right here, was giving Naziah's family some semblance of closure. So, the disclosure of the location of her body was crucial. As a condition of his plea to second-degree murder, Jarvis Butts was required to give a truthful statement regarding the body of Naziah Harris. They say, we are satisfied with his statement he has given, said prosecutor Kim Worthy. So right now, we don't know where, but they're searching. Now, this was just the first sentencing for 13-year-old Naziah. When we move down the sentencing, he's got another charge for Naziah Harris, 13. You see here, and it's the second degree, 35 to 60. Then we've got another one, a 7-year-old female victim. I read that earlier. So we've got 13-year-old Naziah Harris, a 7-year-old family member female victim, a 4-year-old family female victim. We've got 3 right there. We've got 4 to the 8 and 9-year-olds, and then 13-year-old victim. They could have did that with Naziah Harris, but then we've got another 8-year-old. So we've got at least 5 or 6 separate victims here, and these victims were all his family members, nieces, daughters, so forth. Kristen Perry, thank you so much for being a member for a whole year. Thank you. And I appreciate you greatly. All right, let's continue. Now we're going to get into the everything's triggering, but now we're going to get into the more visual stuff for the people that are like me. They want to see. All right, so there's the monster. He took his own life. Right now, it's being ruled that he took his own life. Law enforcement and the prison that he was in, the holding facility, they are in fact investigating, but I'm pretty sure the investigation is going to come out nice and clear. And even if an inmate did do that to him, go inmate. All right, here we go. And again, thank you to Shanitra Speaks for putting this out. Can't play music on my
Jarvis Butts, the man convicted of killing 13-year-old Neziah Harris and actually assaulting her and other girls, is dead.
The prosecutor's office told us after his sentencing that Jarvis Butts needed to submit a truthful statement regarding Neziah Harris's body, but that isn't being made public.
He made his bed, he got to lay in it. I think it was a bit of a cowardly way out.
On March the 12th, 2026, 43-year-old Jarvis Butts was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison for the murder of 13-year-old Neziah Harris.
Now, you guys are really going to get a sense of who Neziah is, as well as the family that not only stood up for him and let him do these awful, awful, evil crimes. But I'm going to show you at the end of this, I'm going to show you the court, where court breaks out in chaos because the grandma that did not report Neziah Harris, that should also be held accountable, was in court trying to make a statement about Jarvis when she should have been charged as well. Okay? The court breaks out and is pissed. I got to show that to you later after this. All right, let's continue. Why what? I want to know why what, my friend?
Also had additional charges, but all of the sentences were set to run at the same time, meaning he was facing a minimum of 35 years and a maximum of 60 years. But he would
he was facing that. Probably would have never been given that sentence because it was all running together. This piece of garbage monster took his own life, in my opinion, because he is just that, a waste of space. He's almost childlike when you see him in appearance. He doesn't look like a child, but he acts like one. It's the weirdest thing. Kathy, thank you so much for being a member for 5 months already, and also gifting a Guilty of Crime membership. If you received a membership, please do thank Kathy. And thank you for member for 12 months. Hopefully I said, and Brighton, thank you as well. All right, let's continue.
Never served his full sentence because Jarvis Butts had other plans. Just 14 days after arriving at the Reception and Guidance Center, Jarvis Butts was found unresponsive in his prison cell. At the time, he was being held at the Reception and Guidance Center, which is basically an intake facility where inmates go before they're assigned to a permanent prison.
Now, look, a lot of these came out in court, and she was sending these cute little, what is this, TikToks to Jarvis. There was so much evidence in the pretrial hearing. It was outrageous, and I'm going to show you that later because it normally doesn't come out in that way. And again, Kathy just gifted another membership. You're so generous. And Linda Tillman, thank you. I appreciate you. Hopefully you'll get a membership. And you did. Look at that. You just got a gifted membership. Awesome. This is the same. This is identical to the Madeline Soto case, except for this guy has so many more victims that he was caught with.
This is the Charles Egler Reception and Guidance Center in Jackson. It's a prison intake center where the Michigan Department of Correction confirms that Jarvis Butts' body was found 2 weeks ago. 43-year-old Butts was sentenced in the murder of 13-year-old Neziah Harris, sentenced to 35 to 60 years. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and as a part of the plea deal, he was supposed to provide information as to where her body was. And Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says he did exactly that. Harris was last seen in January 2024, and prosecutors say she met up with Butts the day.
Is this going too fast for you guys? I just want to make sure. I'll probably slow it down a little bit. But I just want you guys to understand what happened and see the things that are happening, because yeah, Clementine, the darkness always comes to light, but many times it's too late. And this family did Neziah Harris so wrong. I'm going to tell you right now, that little girl didn't have a chance. Just like Madeline Soto didn't have a chance with her Potato Soto mom. Okay? Nothing, not a chance. Thank you, Krista.
The day that she disappeared and she was pregnant, allegedly Butts, the father of that child. And fast forward Thursday, MDOC says he took his own life. MDOC says the staff tried to save his life, but were unsuccessful.
And I'm sure Epstein took his own life too, right, Mab? Right. Mab's working on an intro and outro video. All right, let's continue. I'm sure Epstein did as well. Sure. Look at him. He looks like he wants to cry. He is the biggest bitch I've ever seen. And I wish, and I hope, you know what? You shouldn't hope stuff on people like this, but this guy is a monster. When you hear about what he did to a 4-year-old and even younger, this guy deserves nothing but the... I hope that it wasn't quick. I hope it wasn't a quick death for you. I hope it was painful, sir.
Now, as you heard in the news clip, Jarvis took his own life, but
look at him. He shouldn't even be holding a baby. Every interaction pisses me off that these women thought they were dating this monster and handed their children over to him. He was literally undercover dating these women. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kathy just gifted 4 memberships. Please thank her if you received one. Thank you, Kathy. You're so sweet. All right, that makes me angry. This makes me angry.
Additionally, you also heard that he was supposed to provide a statement about the location of where Neziah's body was. And the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office once again confirmed that he did provide the statement, but that information will not be released to the public. Now, as far as if Jarvis had any cellmates, listen to this.
Now, the Michigan Department of Corrections told us they couldn't say whether Butts had any cellmates.
Now, an alleged cousin of Jarvis Butts did make a status, and what he said was, "Please pray for my family. Even if no one else is, I'm going to miss you, fam." Now, Jarvis Butts' sister had previously...
Now, this made the news, by the way, that they said they missed him. People were in outrage, and the only reason I didn't cover this case last week, guys, is because I wasn't feeling that good. And this case is disturbing to me. It's very disturbing. And you guys can see, it actually makes me angry. It makes my blood boil. Now, you saw his sister at the beginning talking about, "I can't believe you did that, Jarvis. You know that I was assaulted as a child and what happened to me." And then you continue to do that. You know what? Jarvis probably was assaulted too. But that gives no right for him to go and do what he did. I mean, I just can't even. It's neck and neck in the Madeline Soto case, and it happened around the same time, January 2024. It just makes me angry. His face makes me angry. Everything about him makes me angry.
Made a status on March the 16th, and what she stated was, "I just want to take the time to say thank you for all the love and support. You have no idea how much it means." Under that status, the same alleged cousin, he left a comment and he just said, "I tried to call you. Hit me when you can. Love you, because." She replied to him and said, "Love you too." So it does appear that this person does have some connection to Jarvis. Now, of course, his cousin did receive backlash and he subsequently deleted that status because people were leaving comments about how he could make a status to publicly say that he would miss Jarvis. Now, the sister has not made a public status in regards to Jarvis' death, but someone did leave a status on her.
Now, this was 2 days ago. She did leave. Now we do know that she wants to, let me double check. Let me triple check with that it's the sister. Jarvis Butts' body has been claimed by his sister, the girl that you just saw on there, the one who spoke out in court. She's going to give him a proper funeral. Okay. I want you to realize who that is. So that is his sister in that. Wait, where is it? Did I go too far back? That is his sister, and she's already claimed his body and gave a statement about giving him a proper funeral. Midnight Lace, good to see you. Another one too, Jay Caro. Absolutely disturbing. I think that they're not going to have a peaceful funeral. Just saying.
That he would miss Jarvis. Now, the sister has not made a public status in regards to Jarvis' death, but someone did leave a status on her behalf and said she has endured tremendous challenges over the past couple of years. Now, with the loss of her brother, she needs our collective love and support. Let's surround her with uplifting prayers and positive energy, sending her love.
Fox 2 spoke with Harris's cousin Roxy, who was out of town, about what happened and the concerns the family still has.
And all of those children that you see are all children that he has done something with. This is Neziah Harris in her younger years. Like I said, she didn't have a chance. And you see this Roxy character, pick a side. What side are you on? What side is she on, Tiff? Because these people, in my opinion, they're all dirty.
We ultimately, want to still know where she is because we still don't have those answers. We just want to lay her to rest and things like that. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and him doing, deciding to.
That sounded very sincere. We just want to, lay her to rest. I don't even think I think she probably resented Neziah because they lost their man. All of these women that he was dating and tricking and letting their kids get hand over, they all thought. Now, not his sister, obviously, and his cousin, but this guy had everyone wrapped around his finger.
Take his own life was unexpected, literally 2 weeks after the sentencing. He made his bed, he got to lay in it. I think it was a bit of a cowardly way out. But he made his bed, so he has to lay in it.
So again, the prosecutor's office saying that Butts did provide information, and then she referred us over to Detroit Police Department, and we spoke with DPD, and they say that they are investigating, they are searching for her body, and that they are looking into every.
Okay, so here's where the confusion.
Now, if one of you guys is local, I had it earlier, but for some reason I can't find it. Or Tiff, you've been covering this case with me for forever. There's a river over there. So this is in Detroit, right? There's a big river, and I can't remember where they said they searched 2 years ago. That's where he pointed again, but they would. Oh, here it is. Okay, I finally found it. I'll show you guys that after because it's important that you see where the search was for her body. Law enforcement won't tell us where it is now, where they're searching. Okay, let's continue. And you see, one of the most important aspects of the plea deal that I read earlier for you was the disclosure of the location of Neziah Harris's body. That was a condition of the plea.
Comes in because, as you heard in the news clip, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office said Jarvis Butts did provide information about where Neziah's body is located. But when it came to any additional details, they directed the news station over to the Detroit Police Department. Then, a day after Jarvis was found unresponsive in his cell, the Detroit Police Department made their own statement. And in part, they said that although the legal process ended with the conviction in court, their work is not done.
Now, this guy, got to tell you, and their work is not done. This was 3 days ago that the Detroit police is aware of Jarvis Butts' death. he was convicted of Neziah Harris's killing and all the other convictions for the other children on top of that. All right, so they're saying they're going to follow all the leads on what happened and to find Neziah's body, which I really do hope they do. All right, I really do, because they've got a big task ahead of them, and he took his own life. So nobody's ever going to tell. I don't care if someone was with him that day. They're not going to tell. All right, they're out looking in the Rouge River. All right, scouring Rouge River. And I'm from California, so I don't know how Rouge River runs through or what, but it's a big task.
They will continue to follow all leads and continue efforts to locate Neziah's body to help bring closure to her family. And that's where it doesn't quite add up, because if prosecutors are satisfied with what Jarvis said, but police are still actively searching, what does that actually mean? Let me know your thoughts below in the comment section. Do you believe Jarvis Butts provided a truthful statement and they just need time to locate her remains? Or do you think because nothing has been released to the public, there's just not enough information to know if what he said was actually truthful and if he actually revealed a location? That's where the confusion is coming in.
Claims the only family members who saw the statement are the ones Neziah lived with when she went missing.
They apparently only have knowledge of that information. I feel like there were a lot of unanswered questions still about the case.
Like where her body is, part of.
No, I could understand, and rightfully so. We don't want people fighting in chat, but we understand that these cases really do make us feel emotional. And I'm angry at everybody that didn't do anything. The people that saw something, they didn't do a thing. They just let it go. So did his sister have a part of that? I don't know. She's a loved one. And if Jarvis Butts' sister, if we had communication with her and I said, hey, what do you mean by lay him to rest, proper funeral? You claimed his body. What are your plans? I would have empathy for her. She didn't commit those crimes, and I understand the connection, but these cases are emotional, and you could be very angry about it. Very angry when someone supports a monster like that. That guy is the biggest monster, and he acted like a child.
Butts' plea was that he had to reveal where he dumped Neziah's body that winter day back in 2024 after she got off the school bus. She was believed to be pregnant with his child.
Just saying you threw her in the river is not good enough. With a plea, you give us something, we give you this. And we didn't get that.
Law enforcement is saying they got that, and I want to show you something real quick because I want to show you where the search has led to, and I wonder if it's ever going to be found. Now, these are large search parties before the plea deal that were scouring the Rouge River for Neziah. I just want to show you what they're looking for and how big, to give you a sense of the job, the task at hand.
Oakland County Sheriffs are here. Wayne County Sheriffs are here. Just a tremendous partnership and effort, all with the goal of bringing some closure to the family.
Chief, this is now the third body of water, I believe, that you all have searched. Is there anything you can tell us about tips that you guys may have received that led to this, or
it doesn't matter what you're saying.
Debriefing suspects and things such as that.
I just wanted you guys to get a sense of their search efforts. Right now, this was before.
Partnership and effort.
This is before the plea deal. When we go back to this search for large party scouring Rouge River, this was March 12th, 2024. This was a month after she went missing. All right. And now they're back to looking in the same area after he made a plea deal and is no longer with us.
And the community is very angry about that.
Community activist Tamara Liberty Smith on this case since the beginning, saying there's a trail of trauma left behind.
So now the question becomes, will Neziah Harris' remains ever be found? We know that the prosecutor's theory at the preliminary hearing was that Neziah Harris was stabbed to death. They argued that the evidence, including the black hoodie she was wearing, was consistent with stab wounds. On January the 9th, 2024.
You hear that? There's so much evidence in this case. No wonder this guy took a plea deal. Why'd they even give him a plea? Well, I know because it's a no body. And they even gave him second degree because it's a no body case. And again, this is Detroit. Not to shit on anyone's hometown, but I'm just not happy with this.
Neziah had been in communication with Jarvis Butts. When she got off the school bus that day, he had arranged to pick her up. What Neziah didn't know is that when she walked towards Jarvis Butts' vehicle, she was walking to her death, because Jarvis Butts would later take her life and ultimately plead guilty to doing so. And the motive in this case has always been clear. Prosecutors say that Jarvis had been engaged in an inappropriate relationship with Neziah going back to at least 2022, and it was alleged that Neziah was pregnant. For those that have been following this case, you may already know this. And
since 2022, that means she was what, 10 years old, 9 years old? And I assure you, we watched the presentation from the pre-trial hearing, you guys, and what I gotta tell you is that it was terrible. It was awful. I am glad that we didn't have to sit through a trial, because reading and listening to text messages from a little girl that thinks she's in a relationship with a monster is awful. All right, you saw the text messages. Are you supposed to pick me up at 3? Yeah, I'm going to pick you up. Yeah, because he would bring the girls to his shop to help work at the shop. He was doing that to multiple girls at a time. But the thing is the ones that were younger, that don't have their periods, can't get pregnant. So apparently she aged out for him. She aged out of his time and got pregnant, and then he killed her violently with a knife.
And the connection between Jarvis and Neziah was because Jarvis shared 5 children with Neziah's maternal aunt Shan.
Okay, so there's the connection. If you don't remember this story, or you forget because there's so many characters in it, he's supposedly with her and he shares 5 children, which almost all of them he was sexually assaulting. All right, this is a cover so he can get to her and all the children.
And this is how Jarvis had access to Neziah. Now, one of the things that have always stood out is that when Annette Harris took the stand, which is Neziah's grandmother, she tried to distance Jarvis from being in the house. However, there were text messages that were read to Jarvis in the interrogation, which tells a different story. Listen to this.
Asked her, this was now in July, can I get my kids start today? Right. Okay, so fall. Still nothing has happened. Okay. And then some pictures, we liked it. How many pictures do you think she sent you over this period? You didn't share them to nobody. I don't know, try to figure out how to get them off the internet, anything like that. You usually leave it up pretty quickly and save them in none of your quick. These fake invisible folders that are really, as you can see, not invisible. All right.
Now, guys, the evidence was strong. All right, this is what they're talking about here. The evidence was very strong, and it was clear that Neziah Harris thought she was in a relationship with Jarvis Butts. And I do remember now the fact that they used a knife was because I believe that they were trying to give her a home abortion. And when I say they, the fact that grandma was distancing herself, you're going to see court's going to just freaking blow up, because she was there when Neziah lost her life. When this monster killed her, their cell phones pinged together, and then grandma never even called her missing. She waited until noon the next day. You know why? Because she already knew what happened, in my opinion. All right? In my opinion. Oh, yeah, this guy's a monster. Look at how meek he is. He barely talks. I'm surprised his face isn't covered.
And then still, this is July, and it's talking about she wants to talk, and are you busy? So we're still entertaining here at this point. All right, so here, I just want, maybe this day will make you remember what was going on, because she said, I want to talk to you. Are you busy? Text me. Where are you at? I'm trying to she's going on all this. And then you said, why? Go upstairs in the bathroom. So you obviously were at the house. All right, and you said, why? And she said, just go. And then you said, we doing something or what? That's not what I said.
You hear it?
We doing something or what? And you said,
you hear his voice? I mean, they're literally trying to, in my opinion, be calm about what's going on. But when he talks like he's like a little boy that's so meek and vulnerable. They're reading the conversations at the last conversations where he was supposed to pick Naziah. Now, he plays games with them for, another year.
and she says, I want to lay with you. And you said, I'm going upstairs. He says, okay, Chan's going to be up there too.
Yes.
I just want to kill you. And is she? Yes. You know she wants to dig, so she going to follow you upstairs. Shannon? Yeah, okay. So this is that day. And you said, not kidding me. This is your day. So apparently you weren't going to get it. I know it's mine. Give her some dick. So ass can shut up. So basically he's telling
You hear what's happening here? I got mine, and he's like, I don't know, I'll give it to you. And then she's like, give her some dick so she can shut up. All right. I mean, this is disgusting. The whole family and the way this is intertwined. I'm sure there are other victims.
give her some so she can shut up and leave you alone. She only acting like that because she's horny. And then you said, I want to see you.
Now, remind you, Jarvis Butts was with the lady that I showed you in the other picture. All right. Now, he groomed them 110%. He had 5 children with her, and then he proceeded to rape all of them. Okay. Now, this is Naziah Harris telling Jarvis Butts, hey, just dick her down. Shut her up. I want to see you. Just get it done with. Make her happy. Tell her to shut up. Come on. I mean, these text messages were very much back and forth consensual. However, you can't consent at 13 years old when you started being groomed at 9 and 10 years old from a man that's trusted in the household. All right. It is disgusting. There's so much evidence. I know.
While you're in shock. And then I'm assuming that was what this was.
Now, although Jarvis is now dead, Naziah's body has not been found, and that is where the focus is. There is still hope that Naziah is able to be found and that the family that loves her is able to have a proper burial. We do know that on January the 9th, 2024, when she vanished, Jarvis Butts' business associate, King, said that he left the shop around 9 p.m. and Naziah was still with Jarvis. Now, King was never charged in connection to the case, but he did testify at the preliminary hearing about seeing Naziah Harris at the shop.
Everybody did, guys. Everybody did. All right. And this is the one earlier someone said, maybe King will talk about it. He's not going to say a thing. He saw what was going on the entire time. Jarvis Butts had little girls in and out at all times of his business. It's almost like that shop was a cover for that. He'd say, hey, you guys need to earn some money. Come work at my shop. And the working at his shop meant, well, knocking him up, right? He's never going to tell, even if he knows.
Now, the significance of this is that when prosecutors went back and retraced Jarvis Butts' steps, they found out that after he left the shop, he went to a hotel, which there was no surveillance footage from the hotel. I previously did a video about that, so if you haven't checked it out, I'll link it in the description.
Cordell, as we know, testified that he had to get back to his house based on his tether hours by 9 p.m. And that is the last time that anyone who is not Jarvis Butts would see Naziah Harris alive.
So it sounds like they tried to do a home abortion in a hotel. I don't know where the primary crime scene was, where the secondary crime scene was, because allegedly that wasn't the last time. But we've got family members that are vouching for this monster, so I'm not quite sure. You know what? I think King knew exactly what's going on. And I think if King could have gotten those kids too, he would have done so. Respectfully, I watched My 600-Pound Life and most people were essayed, just speculating, my opinion. Probably.
From the shop, we proceed out to the Park Crest Inn, where Jarvis Butts checked into a hotel at 9:30 p.m. And Sergeant O'Rourke's testimony corroborates this, placing his phone in the area of that 20,000 Harper address at around midnight till early the next morning on the 10th, using the data that you see on the screen and those times. Recapping January 9th, this is the last time that we have any sort of communication from Neziah. There was, if you look at those messages that Sergeant Jones went through and read, just between Neziah and Jarvis, there was consistent and constant communication up until January 9th. There's also no messages.
Guys, this was one of the cases. I want you to realize, if you weren't following this, this was one of those cases where there was a lot of twists and turns, okay? A lady found Neziah Harris's ID. They found different things here, different pieces there, and they put it together and they said, we're going to convict this guy with or without a body. We know about the relationship, etc., etc. All right, let's continue. I've got a couple more. Well, we're going to get through this, but I want to show you the "You're a Monster" and judge setting trial dates. Now, remember, the trial never happened, but the pre-trial gave you all the information that you ever need and more.
From Jarvis, after Neziah goes missing on the 9th, looking for her, seeing where she is, trying to find her, trying to help, as anyone should do at that time, her family locate her.
Nope.
There's no messages to her phone, to that text now account from Jarvis Butts' phone.
You hear that?
Her legal guardian and grandmother, Annette Harris, has not seen any social media posts. The OIC of the case, Sergeant Jones, has not seen anything for a total of 1 year now. Lieutenant George Harris, who was involved in the investigation in the first month, didn't see anything that he saw from social media or text now after the 9th. Jarvis Butts on the 9th, we know, borrowed Latricia Johnson's car overnight, which was unusual. He borrowed that and then again borrowed it on the 10th or 11th. We know that Neziah's glasses were found in that car sometime after the 10th or 11th.
So you guys listening to what went down, this is what went down, and then the search was on. This went on for quite some time before they had so much evidence that it's like, hey, we're going to bring this guy in. We're going to talk to him. This guy talks without a lawyer, Jarvis Butts, and he acts like he's like 4 years old or 3, like he's so meek and just scared. Yeah, good question. I'm surprised they weren't trafficking people out of there, out of the shop.
Latricia Johnson was at that shop, and Jarvis Butts snatches them out of her hand. From the Park Crest Inn and from January 9th, we go out to 7 Mile and Burke. This is by far the most important location in this case, because we know that the defendant spent from 11:40 p.m. on the 10th to 1:34 a.m., nearly 2 hours in that area, in that wooded area where the Rouge River runs through. And to give this...
There you go, guys. And that's why we went back to the Rouge River, because they have a spot where they think that he could have buried her. Or now, if he put her into the river, we might not ever be able to put her to rest. I hope so. However, it's just, that's what they're looking for right now. And Patricia in NY, we're definitely ready for Vegas, baby, especially after this case. The hotel is throwing $250 gambling vouchers we can raffle off. All right, we're gonna talk about that. So we should probably just do an episode about like Crime Con and everything like that. All right, sounds good. Thank you for breaking up the harshness of this case.
From the slideshow of the scene photos that were taken at 7 Mile and Burke, this is the area where it's the people's theory Jarvis Butts did at least one of two things: either killed Neziah at 7 Mile and Burke, but at the very least dumped her body in this location. We know this because of the evidence that was found there, specifically the black hoodie, which you see in this photo here, as well as the pink bodysuit.
And again, guys, I did not even realize that there was her sweatshirt or her hoodie that had a bunch of stab knife wounds in it, along with her blood and a pink bodysuit. So it means he did something around this area. But where's the body?
The shoes that we confirmed or that are hers based on the picture that the OIC
Hi,
received
Emily.
from her brother. And those items were collected.
So one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video is because after Jarvis Butts was sentenced, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office made it clear that he was required to provide a truthful statement about the location of Naziah's body, and they say that he did. But despite that, there are still a lot of people who feel like her location was never truly revealed, and that's where the disconnect comes in, because I did get some comments on my last video saying he never revealed the location. But the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office said that they are satisfied with the statement he gave, but they have also made it clear that they are not releasing that information to the public and have directed any additional.
So, guys, I really do hope that they go out there and are already searching. All right. Jarvis Butts is gone. I'm sure he did it himself, right? Welcome in, Emily. I know you're just stopping by to say hey, but say hello, Nancy Fleming and chat and mods. You guys, I know this is a hard topic, but do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get this in the algorithm. All right, it's a tough case, but she deserves justice, and I mean, she needs a proper burial, in my opinion. She wasn't done. She was doomed in this life with that family, and now she needs to be laid to rest, guys.
Questions to the Detroit Police Department. So even if people don't agree with that decision, the official position is that Jarvis Butts fulfilled his obligation from the prosecutor's office. So I played a portion of the prosecutor's closing statement that focused on Jarvis' movements on the night Naziah's life was taken. And the significance of that is this. The prosecutor's theory is that during those 2 hours he spent in that wooded area, that is where he took her life or where he left her body. Because of that, that area has been extensively searched, but Naziah Harris has still not been found. So now with Jarvis Butts gone, and even with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office saying he provided a truthful statement.
And what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Revoke his privileges now? I really do hope that they find him. Pam Todd says, no words for this one. Yeah, I mean, this is it's same time, Forever 13. Madeline Soto went missing January of 2024. Well, hers was in February, or was it January? I always get confused about those two, but let me know. Some people like that sticks in your head. Mine, I have to see it.
The question still remains, will Naziah remains ever be found? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. As always, I appreciate your support.
I hope so.
It was actually with one of my girlfriends, man, because she took me. She brought me.
Okay, I want you to hear some of this because he's talking, and this was Shanitra, thank you for making this legible. This guy is literally talking with the people that are interrogating him, and he's laughing about all the women that he sleeps with and does things to. But these women that he's so speaking of are actually children. All right, so listen for a minute, and then we're going to go to You're a Monster. I want you to see what the judge says about him and the family and what happened in this case. And guys, I do want to say, I hope that there is I hope that they find Naziah Harris's body. If they don't, may she rest in peace. Newsflash, there's a gravitational pull to that river. She didn't just sink. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Kaimani Latigue. We can't forget Kaimani Latigue with Darnell Jones. Very similar circumstances. Now, we covered that case over here, right, Tiff? All right, Emily Jane, thank you so much for the big prayers. And I know how it is to go to work, come home, do your thing, rinse and repeat. Day, every day. Thank you. All right, let's continue. This is ridiculous. And this is one of the only times you're going to see him talking without a mask and actually not acting like he's a little hurt victim. This is a day after Valentine's Day of 2024. This was 3 days after she went missing. All right. And then I'm looking at behind what you guys can't see. Years before this, CPS was warned several times about Jarvis from Naziah's family. I want you to realize that. All right? Yeah, he's going back and forth to court now.
You don't understand. I can't understand. Hold on, I heard you say baby mama, 13 kids, fiance. You live with who do you live with? That's the fiance. And you got a girlfriend.
Okay, so right now he's talking about his girlfriend, his fiance. He's having a good old time because at this point, he's that smooth talker that gets his way into the family, that no matter what he does, he thinks he's charming and good looking, and to everyone else, he is, because they let him right back in doing what he does. To me, he just looks like an evil monster. But when you start talking to the community about him, they actually think he was a good-looking man with multiple women. He ran that shop, so he played like, oh, I'm the good uncle and friend, and I'm gonna buy your stuff and pay for this. That's called grooming. He groomed them all, and CPS was warned several times. Right? He's super fly, super fly. I'm glad you remember that. He did. That was the other guy, right? Another case we're talking about here, that he gave her an STD, or are you talking about this one, Clar? Anyway, let me know which one you're talking about. That's horrible. Hold on. She said, okay, player.
Okay.
Okay, player.
So she has your phone. She has your phone. From my understanding, the police have my phone. Now, who did they get it from? Her. We asking because we don't know this info.
From my understanding, they conducted a raid on her house.
Okay.
Where they raided her house?
From your understanding.
But she had the phone.
But the phone was in her possession.
Okay.
So.
And that's where you left it, when you got locked in.
My jacket in the car.
Okay.
What type of gun?
Super fly.
Okay, I'm gonna go check.
Is that your car or her car? Oh, okay.
Do the snacks, whatever the case may be. And I know she was getting older, so she was into certain things. Like I come up, she had little fingernails and shit on. And I know grandma wasn't.
So why just not give it to her?
Okay,
so that's what I'm saying. So the value is.
Again, this is one of the only times that you don't see him hiding his face and trying to smooth these people and tell him what a ladies' man he is. Not children. He loves the ladies.
So you
he mentored.
You talk to them about anything?
Depending on, certain little things, I would actually, my school would be nothing serious. Like I say, I wouldn't put too much in the family business. That would be my thing. Like I said, everything that you had to do, you had to earn it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you wanted something, earn it. You know, you appreciate it more. So that was my whole thing on that. So me, I used to just give it to them. They would take advantage. And every time I pull up,
what he's saying essentially is that he has access to these children and he's grooming them, is what he's telling them, because at this point they're looking at him as a suspect in the Neziah Harris case. And he's like, yeah, everybody, I come up and the family's like, give me this, give me that. When in actuality, he comes to the family and he buys and smoozes them so he can have full access to his own children to do this to. All right. So you're not going to hear him talk much again after this.
And it's a lot of kids over there, so I can't keep giving
not
everybody $5. And that looks real bad if I just give you money every time you have asked for it or she asked for it and I can't give it to everybody else. So therefore, you guys want something, I got a job for y'all. If I have something for you to do, I'll call and let you know. Every time they come in, $25 a piece, depending on.
Okay.
Make sure we come up the same person.
He's also telling them that he's mentoring these girls at his shop. And thank you for reminding me, Clar and Tiff. I cover so many of these cases that are very, very similar, like Darnell Jones. I did not realize that he gave his 4-year-old, this guy, this monster, let's just add up the stuff that makes this the worst case. He gave his 4-year-old chlamydia, you guys. Yes, I'm going to leave that up for a minute. He is the absolute devil. This is if they have a picture in the whatever book that shows devil, that the dictionary, wherever, they should just put his face there because it belongs. He's literally evil.
What's her government name?
Neziah.
Do you know about when that picture might have been taken or where?
I don't.
Does she look like that last time you saw her? What she look like the last time you saw her?
Bloody. A black hoodie.
Any color in the braids?
Not that I know of.
She was getting her did the last time.
She just got her hair done. He remembers that.
So I don't even know what it was. But
You talking about back and forth between the house? So she wasn't back and forth.
that day, the last time I seen her, she was getting her hair did. Yes, she was. She was back and forth because the dude, I guess the dude, was sweetie. He stayed next door. So she was going back and forth with him next door, but they were in the basement at the grandmother's house getting her hair did.
See, he's trying to blame it on the neighbor and she's going back and forth, but really, that was him down in the basement that's like, hey, I'm coming. Drop your panties. I'm on my way. This mother. And they're already on to him.
Okay, but not on the night though.
Not that I don't know, like I said, not that I can recall.
Not that I can
If it ain't
recall.
my phone, I'm over there quiet off it, man.
Okay, so yeah, you can do some amazing things with these phones.
You guys.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to think about some stuff.
Okay, so when I was asking you about you had any contact or text message or did anything with Zaza, you said that you didn't. That you don't have any contact with her like that at all. Because
No, he said
I
no.
don't think of any the last time she talked to her.
Right off the top of my head, boss.
Okay. Were you supposed to meet her anywhere?
He said you met her anyway, and he's like, what? Remember, they have his records already, guys. They know that the Jarvis was supposed to pick Naziah up at 3:00, so they already know. Yeah, go charge your phone, Norma. And Kathy, thank you so much for all the gifted memberships. I know you gotta get some sleep, my friend. That way you can continue your channel. All right, keep it going. If you guys can drop a link for Kathy, she's gonna go to bed for her channel. If he didn't off himself someone, all right.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Those already young girls is fast and things like that. So not accusing me or nothing, but some of the stuff we can't just.
So ping me,
I
boss.
gotta
Like I
ask
say,
you.
ping me, boss. I can't.
So I
I
just
do a lot. I do a
He's
lot.
saying ping me.
So can you kind of help me out, like what went on this day, or point me in the right direction? I'm not saying
I was about to say, what do you mean?
no, I'm not saying anything. What I'm trying to say is what happened here. Like,
I can't tell you what happened. Like I say,
why would she be texting you that if I wasn't meeting? So if you
I'm
was
supposed to meet them at the house.
it's okay to meet her.
You're saying them, who, her and my daughter.
So that's
I'm
one.
supposed to pick them up at that house, at their grandmother's house on Bedford. Like I say, from time to time, I had jobs for them, and I did tell them that they.
Let me see, because the location she didn't put at my grandma's house.
Yeah, they're supposed to have been at because they got out of school or whatever time. I was waiting on my daughter to get out.
And had she really been at grandma's house, then the grandma should be implicated even further in this case. All right, guys, we have coming up next. It correlates, I assure you, right into this. So unless you guys are done, we still have 141 people in here, and I really want to get to the part about you're a monster and why I believe he took a plea deal. This is the first time I've been able to watch this interrogation and understand it, thanks to Shanitra, because the audio is terrible everywhere else. So if you guys are cool, let's keep going. Hit that like button, subscribe, get a membership. He would be someone's bitch in the big house or a Jeffrey Dahmer case, and the inmates will take care of him. Well, he's already done. He didn't even make it to prison. He was in the prison processing area, and they found him unalived. Go figure. I'm sure he took his own life, right? Right? Just like Epstein.
I don't pick them. I don't pick one up without the other. Bottom line. I don't pick one up without the other.
So it wasn't. Did she ever confide in you about like having any troubles with with girls and boys?
Yeah, girls don't know about the situation she had with some girls. Like supposed to get jumped on or something like that. I'm not sure, but they knew about that situation. I'm sitting up here, man. I can give you consent to everything that I got.
So why would she tell you to, why would she have to delete your number?
She wasn't talking about my number.
She was.
She was talking about the number that she called me from. Like I said, they call from different.
I mean, this guy just breathes lies. Everything he says is a lie. Everything he says is a lie. He's used to this, right?
The numbers, the auntie.
No,
This text now shit.
So right.
So
Delete
my
my
number.
No. So I can delete your number.
I can delete. I don't know why she would say my number, though. Because anything that we do, like I said, it's always like
Yeah.
that when they call me from text
Sure,
now
buddy.
and all that bullshit. So I'm assuming she was sneaking when she said it. Like I said, I don't have no reason to have nothing. My
Kinda.
phone is what it is. Everything is in my phone. Y'all have possession of my phone. Take a look.
Everything's in my phone. You have possession. You mean after you deleted it or before? You know, it is a win-win, but I would love to hear that some inmate got infamous for taking the life of Jarvis Butts. Just saying. It happened with Dahmer. Gracie, at least the taxpayers don't have to pay for this POS. You're right. Human garbage. Waste of oxygen.
Look at it. Go through it. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know why would she say delete my number.
We're never done.
So you saying that you didn't meet up, right?
Jesus, I didn't meet up with that.
I promise to Jesus.
We never got, like I said, she sent me that text message. I was supposed to pick them up. We never had a test anything because of
Who you on your phone?
Is that one if she we were doing a job in Ypsilanti?
On the night?
Yeah, we were doing a job. Mobile
We're
job. I don't know who that
A
is.
mobile job.
She knew that she was supposed to come me.
Did you tell the mother
Yes,
or anybody that she had just listen?
I told my child's mother that she had texted me.
That day.
Yes.
To meet you.
Yeah, no. She told me she had texted me and I asked what number was.
He just cannot tell the truth, and they have all the info.
She was like, I don't know. I gave her the number. She said she didn't know what number that was.
So you see that y'all had correspondence the day before on the 8th?
Yeah, from the same number. What does it say?
Yeah. So
it said, what are you doing?
All right, that's you.
That was me telling what I'm doing?
Yeah, she's saying that.
Guys, he had everybody in that family so I don't even know what it was, whether it was groomed or I think partially groomed. And then the other part of it was he was absolutely paying, right? We call that, that can be considered trafficking, by the way, but he was absolutely providing them with financial aspects, giving them whatever they wanted, whatever they needed to have access to those children. Mab says, I'm back. After the dog eats, gotta walk in, but be listening. Go, go, go. What's up, Saucy Skins? How you doing, my friend? Seashell, just jumping on. Well, glad you're here. Don't forget to hit that like button, all right? We're almost done with this clip. We're going to go into the you're an absolute monster, and we won't hear him.
She actually was at work, and you responded, what you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
So y'all have back and forth conversation.
Not like that, boss. I mean, like I said, they call me when I have jobs, and I told you when I have jobs.
And I guess the way at the beginning of this, and again, I'm just trying to understand, bro.
So I get you to catch
No.
He had his lies down to a T with that family that he's trying to convince this guy that has all the evidence of that.
No, you wait a minute. Listen, brother. Again, at the beginning of the conversation, I asked, did you ever speak with her on the phone or text message? And you said that you either speak with the grandmother or you speak with your child's mother.
Or they call me and ask me and harass me, and I call the grandmother and let them know that they did that.
But here, we having back and forth conversations one-on-one.
Okay, what is the conversation, boss?
Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have relationships with their young daughters. He would have relationships with their mothers, but his true desire was to have with their.
Exactly. We'll leave it at that. His true desire was to have a relations with not only the children, any children, but his own biological children. Now let's see what landed him here. You're a effing monster. This was a pretrial. Please stay here. Hit that like button. This part's important. And, well, it's funny, too, because everything else is so dark. This is dark, but boy, is he going to get laid to him. And that's what led up to him making a plea deal.
And the one thing I had highlighted in page is the quote, in this case, there was no physical evidence such as blood stains or a weapon leaking defendant to Joyce's death. In this case, we don't have the same facts or circumstances. I do agree, this is a circumstantial case. Circumstantial evidence is sufficient for bind over and even conviction.
A no body case.
Today is January 9th, 2025, exactly 1 year, from the day Josiah Harris disappeared. Before I get into the charges, and the main charge of premeditated first-degree murder, I have to speak on Josiah Harris and the community who failed him.
All right, and this is important. She's speaking on Josiah Harris and the community that failed her. I really want you to pay attention to this. I will absolutely put captions on. I know they didn't go loud enough here, and I turned the captions off a minute ago because they had Shanitra had captions. So here we go. I'm going to put it up here in the upper left-hand corner for those that have trouble hearing or don't have headphones on. I'm going as loud as I can. All right.
And I am only presented with such evidence. I don't know the whole story. The attorney knows more than me. The family knows more than me. But from what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her.
Thank you.
I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is.
Wow.
I don't have any mention of him in her life, no presence. To Cordell, aka King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including Messiah, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up his shop.
His 9-year-old daughter that they named in the document, they said 8 or 9. They didn't actually name the children. He would bring his own 8-year-old, 9-year-old daughter into the shop and grape her as well. Both of them at the same time. Pamela Cornelius, fly high, baby girl. Thank you. Justice for Josiah Harris. Say a prayer that she's laid to rest properly, guys.
The school counselor who never showed up, or the person who was supposed to show up,
Rebecca,
was absent after Josiah was on the floor on the day she went missing, saying that she needed to speak to someone and speak to a counselor. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was over the years, because this was not just a 1-year thing. Their text is at least from 2022. To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable.
Did you hear that? She's talking about the grandma and saying that her testimony was very questionable. Remember, the grandma was supposed to have custody of Josiah. They had a lot of different children living at the house. Okay. And when she went missing, grandma decided not to call law enforcement and even tell them that she was missing. She waited until the next day around noon. Do you think that was so that they can get rid of the body? Because she would have been held accountable too. As a matter of fact, didn't they arrest her and then let her go? Yeah, I'm sure his partner probably had little girls too. She's literally calling out the grandma right now.
Understand why the people put her on the stand to establish Josiah's residence and the houses on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that Josiah was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid.
Nope.
I do believe she adopted Josiah. I do believe that she had 6 kids in the house. I believe that Josiah had on a dark hoodie the day she went missing.
Yep.
And that she had on red and black Nikes that day.
Damn.
What's hard to believe is that the defendant never came into the house as she testified. And there was also a minor that testified.
Right.
That he did as well. Text messages that show between him and Josiah that he did in the basement, saying he was going to the shower, stealing her panties. He was always lurking around that house and asking for Janiyah and Zaniyah, from what I know.
Remember, he's got Janiyah and Naziah, okay? He's literally juggling, and you saw the charging document. If you were here in the beginning, there were at least 5 victims. And again, he had 5 children with Shannon, okay? He didn't care. Nobody had a chance that was around him, and I wouldn't be surprised if the babies they handed off to him, he was doing stuff to anybody and everybody.
I even thought about the breakfast routine and saying that all the kids like eating breakfast at school. Did they have a choice? I don't know.
Damn, I love
But
her.
to always
I love her.
send those girls up there to clean up the shop.
Yes.
Raises questions. And how were there two women in that house who had birthed children themselves?
I love her.
And I believe she was. And not having her period anymore.
Not having her period.
Text messages today begging Jarvis for pads as if she didn't have anyone else to give them for her.
Are you hearing this? She was on her period, and the only one that would get her pads was Jarvis. Again, it's like they backed her into a corner, and he just completely groomed all of them. And then she stopped having a period, which means she's pregnant, right? Remember, they have not ever found her body, so they're making that decision based on text messages and whatever else that they find between the two. I don't know how they, without a body, they can say that, but they know.
And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand.
Hey, Lucid, what's up?
We learned around 6 p.m. that Naziah did not come home from school. Instead, she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear,
That's grandma that did that. She waited the next morning. Naziah was missing that night, and she waited till the next morning. Grandma's laying it to her. Yes, Michelle, he was having sex with adult women. Who knows about the grandma? I wouldn't be surprised if he had a relationship with the grandma as well, a sexual one. I agree, Gracie. I was telling you guys at the beginning. Everybody felt this little girl.
Without emotion or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from Naziah going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for Naziah, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police. A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either.
Wow.
Able to go to sleep at night without hearing from Naziah or having any indication that she was coming home that night.
Because they knew she wasn't.
In a minute.
They knew she wasn't coming home. Yep.
As far as the people establishing probable cause, I will focus on count one as it's been stated that
damn, dude.
Counts 2 and 3.
Come on, guys, hit that like button.
I will amend based off of the motion and testimony I heard that Naziah was 12 and not 13 at the time that Jarvis Butts had sexual intercourse with her.
Damn.
The prosecution is correct. You do not have to have a body to establish first-degree premeditated murder. It would have been a much shorter exam had her body been found, but this is where we are. In the last 365 days, no text messages. We all heard today and yesterday that she was very active and frequently texted. No social media for years. We heard through testimony that she was also active on social media. No phone calls, which she was also able to do according to testimony.
Damn, dude.
No physical sighting of her by anyone. She never came back to school. No one has seen her. Medical records dated from July 2014 to October 2023 indicated that she had no life-threatening medical issues that would lead to a natural.
Now you got to remember they were going to try him without a body. So that's how this ultimately ended up in a plea deal in exchange for her body. Now, law enforcement won't tell us where it is, but supposedly they're supposed to be searching. I hope that they continue that. I know Panda Ann comes in and breaks the mood. Thank you. Lightening the mood, baby. Call me again. Like, they don't know my scheduled program. I love this judge, guys. I really do.
The black hoodie found in the area of 7 Mountainburg with her DNA and blood on it. The holes.
Of course.
Consistent with some sort of struggle, violence, or weapon being used. And we know that there were no holes in that hoodie when she wore it to school. We saw a picture of her in a black hoodie on her last day that everyone saw her.
Yep.
I do believe her grandma testified truthfully about the sweatshirt that she had on, and that was practically new.
She's like, that's about it.
Who said that no evidence of animals would have destroyed the clothing or the shoes to possibly lead to animals tearing up that hoodie.
Damn.
The clear glasses found in the blue Nissan the day after she went missing. The behavior of the defendant when he snatched those glasses. They looked
Damn.
exactly like the glasses she had on in her last picture, according to the witness. The
This
shoes
guy's-
that her brother described as the same shoes that were found also in the area of 7 Bird near the hoodie. While this is still probable cause, the evidence all points to Jarvis Butts. His location,
Yes.
him being seen with her last,
Yes.
the
Yes.
abortion searches, the abrupt silence between the two of them in text messages.
There you go. I mean, that all of this they're gathering from the fact that she texted Jarvis, "I didn't have my period." Her searching for him, searching for various things that have to do with, young pregnancy, whatever. Man, they're getting good. I'm telling you, you got to think twice if you're going to be a criminal, guys, because thank God that they were going to proceed without her body. Listen to the evidence that they have in this case without her. But I do wonder where he put her body in relation to the hoodie that he just left out there with blood and stab marks and the shoes and her pink bodysuit. He just left them kind of randomly out there. Well, what did he do with her?
The constant lies he told throughout the entire investigation. And they were proven to be lies with text messages and other testimony. We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on Desire. It went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up.
Yes, that's what
As much as I
happened.
want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she's dead and she was murdered by Jarvis Butts.
Yep. Amen. Amen, Judge. Amen. Stand up, you piece of trash.
You've been sitting over there 4 days with your head down, sitting between and behind your attorney.
I love that she calls him out like this. And like I told you, that's the only time you're going to hear him talk is in that interrogation when he thought he was being a ladies' man. He thought he was appealing to the interrogation officer, bragging about baby mamas and girlfriends. He's such a player, right? Now this fool is not even COVID. It wasn't COVID 5 days ago either when he got convicted and sentenced. But yeah, this guy wears a mask and he walks around like this. And when he speaks, he's just like, yeah, all meek. That somebody should meekly just punch him in the face. I don't think he took his own life. I really don't.
With your mask on and taking vigorous notes. I want you to pay attention and listen to
Notes.
everything I have to say.
This fool's taking notes.
I have been trying to figure out for the last 5 days, you. At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning of this exam. And then maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old.
Oh my God. I don't even remember this. But yes, that's what I was telling you earlier. He's meek like a child. That he talks like a kid. It's real low. She literally told him that she thought something was wrong with his head. Like he has the tenure of a 10-year-old. She's trying to be figuring him out for the last 5 days while he hides behind that mask. One more time, and I'll play it all the way through.
At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning.
Cognitively impaired.
And maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old, and that's why you were doing such things. But as I heard more and more testimony,
yep,
you're just a true definition of a pedophile.
Yep.
Watch
Look at his eyes.
And brag about all the women you have with different women and the children and the girlfriends, and making babies to groom them and having them in your presence, cleaning up, quote, cleaning up your shop. And the little girls around you has landed you here today. You groomed Desire. You played mind games with her. We all heard that. You controlled her emotionally. She was exposed to so much.
So young.
At a young age. The text messages between you two were disgusting to hear.
Yes, I love this judge.
And to think that she had you saved in her phone as babe for life. Desire deserves so much more. And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you are the monster in this whole picture.
You are a fucking monster. Sorry, guys.
Everyone who was in her life. She was ignored. She was neglected. and you took complete advantage of that.
Yep.
She
Amen.
wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like.
Nope. You played her.
Children deserve more. As
You're
much as the defense counsel has raised issues,
fucking monster.
all that has done is raise the question of fact for the tried fact, which means
That's
it's going
it.
to be for a jury or a judge to hear in Third Circuit.
This guy's not afraid of COVID, guys. He's just a fucking coward. And sorry about my language, but this is just unacceptable to the fullest. All right. This is horrible, horrible, horrible. And every time I present this case or, I have to come back and give an update, I feel the same way, just anger. He literally groomed those women to have children with him in order to be able to grape them all. That's all. He didn't have them because he wanted to love children and feel he just wanted to be surrounded by small kids that he could take advantage of mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually.
Pray for the healing of all the victims and the young girls and possibly boys who have come into contact with you. As a community, we should look at this case as a prime example of how much work we have to do when it comes to protecting our children and especially our Black girls.
Black girls.
I pray for closure and healing for all those who have been traumatized by you. And for you, Jarvis Butts, I wish you a speedy trial and that justice be delivered.
Yes.
Your
And guys, 5 days ago, justice was delivered. They went into his cell and he was dead. They tried their best to revive him, I'm sure, but we don't know the cause of death yet. We will find out, and I will make sure to update you. I think he's blushing and smirking and doesn't want to be seen because talking about it does something to him. There's a possibility too, but he's been hiding behind that mask, and it hasn't been COVID for a real long time. When Neziah went missing, it was already 2024. We were only mandated for masks from 2020 to maybe 2022 or 2021, the end of part of 2022. This guy's a fucking coward is what he is. That's why he's hiding. All right. He's a coward and he's a monster. And I love that the judge says she thinks he's cognitively impaired.
date is January 16th at 9 o'clock a.m.
All right.
Now to our other big story at 5.
All right, now.
Jarvis Butts, the man convicted of killing 13.
Sorry, guys. I am going to, since y'all are still here and I have it up, chaos erupts in the court. I got a 6-minute clip you cannot miss. This is the court and this is the sentencing. All right, this was on March 12th. And chaos erupts in the court because of the people involved and the grandma that's a effing liar, the family that hid and let him do what he wanted. All right. Carol says tried really, really hard. Did they say how he died? They did. They literally just said that he took his own life and they'll be investigating it. Now, check this out. This was March 12th. This was the sentencing that I read to you. It's only 6 minutes. Court erupts because you've got these people that, in my opinion, were involved. They knew that Neziah was being abused by Jarvis. They financially benefited from that. They didn't even care. They financially benefited and they did whatever to help him get away with it. And it didn't work because the trail of text messages and social media.
And then Harris, ANN.
Okay, this is grandma, right? Am I correct, Tiff? Annette Harris. This is grandma. She's speaking at sentencing. And I want you to remember, I believe that she was initially arrested because they thought she was part of it, which I think she knew because Neziah was missing that night and she didn't call until the next day. She just decided it's cool. All right. So chaos erupts in the court because grandma that can't take care of her granddaughter like she's supposed to, just collecting checks, does this.
ETTEHARRIS.
Thank you, ma'am. And there are clinics there if needed, whenever you're ready.
Remember, she wasn't crying when she called and reported Naziah missing. No. She waited till the next day. Not a tear. But here she is now putting on a show.
To the Honorable Judge Nicholas John Hathaway in the Wayne County Circuit Court. Good morning. Thanks and thank the court for giving me the opportunity to speak as I stand here before you to address the concerns that me and my family have. It has been 2 years and 2 months since I reported Naziah missing.
Sorry, guys. Let me put these on.
I want you to know that my life will never be the same. My family's life will never be the same.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Without Naziah. And every day that I wake up with her, I wake up.
What she meant to say was every day when I wake up and Naziah is gone and my check comes once a month, boy, am I feeling that check that I'm not getting. And the money that Jarvis was giving me, let me tell you. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to talk about that. Let me just read this fake ass, crying ass sentence. She's just upset because he's being locked up and can't pay her bills. Rebecca, thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. I appreciate you. It is heartbreaking, but not really, because grandma's full of crap, in my opinion.
Depressed. It's another day without her. I love her and I miss her dearly. I can't tell her that because her life was
enough show there, lady. Come on.
I can't tell her that because her life was taken from her. Words cannot express just how much me and my family really miss and love Naziah. This has impacted my life.
Yeah.
And my family's life. There are days when I can't, when I don't want to get out of bed. I wake up feeling depressed. I don't want to talk to anybody, to anyone, just getting out of bed.
I can't get out of bed anymore, y'all, because Jarvis is gone. I don't get to see him. I mean, Naziah's gone, and that check once a month. That check is so impacted. They took half of those children that he was abusing away from me. That's what I imagine her saying.
To do the basic everyday things that I miss, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Hold on. Let me compose myself.
I don't want to get out of bed. I wake up feeling depressed. I don't want.
Remember that judge that we just saw a minute ago ripped her a new asshole, literally, and told the whole world that she feels like grandma's responsible and she didn't give two shits about Naziah. That's what she said before. And now this lady's over there playing up for the best Oscar award. She's not even showing her face, putting her hair in it. This lady.
Everyday things that I need to get done. This has affected my health. I am seeing more than one doctor about my health.
Oh.
Seeing the therapist. I don't feel safe in my home. My address and my phone number has been put on social media. People have been driving by, taking pictures of my home. I have been threatened.
Oh my God, look at what happened to her. People take pictures of her home and she's threatened for being a shitty grandma that knew what was happening and yet didn't stop it. She's going for disability, Miss Congeniality vibes. Her acting, she wins huge roll of toilet paper thrown at her. Nope, dry paper towels. F this. I'm mad. She's so full of crap. It's all about her. I do not like this lady. The hair, what a mess. She must have picked that hair for the day so she can hide her face.
My family have been threatened. They're just taking of me and my family following me.
Good.
In my car.
My car. Oh, dear me.
Setting up GoFundMe raises in Nazia's name without my permission. This has also affected me financially.
I told you, she even went into the financial part, guys. Where are the mocos? Where is she crying? Where's the boogers and the snot? I think the biggest part that she should have just went up there and said is, this is affecting me financially, guys. I really need another child or 3 to fill in that gap so I can get my food stamps and plus Jarvis. That Jarvis, boy, did he give me some money and I don't even know why. Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. Continue.
And my people other people doing podcast shows, emailing me.
Emailing you. Don't worry, the court is just as upset too. That's why this clip is called Chaos Erupts During Sentencing of Detroit Man. Oh. Shut up.
Shut up.
Look, someone said that. Someone said that in court. I didn't even realize that. I said, shut up. Watch. I'm going to read the sometimes. So that's why chaos erupts, because people know that this bitch is fake. She helped cover it up. She didn't call when Naziah was missing, and she's over there.
Take your time now.
Watch the court.
Shut up.
Shut up. You see that? I said at the same. Jinx. She literally said, shut up. And the judge is like, you got to move. You see? The court's pissed. I'm telling you.
Don't come into my home.
Don't come into my home.
Step out. Too late. Let's go. Let's go, man. In the red and in the black. Let's go.
Please remain quiet.
Quiet the court.
Yeah. She's told her, shut the fuck up. I love it. I love it. It's like when Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced and the lady just, I hate you, dumb. I love it. Love it. She's a freaking big fake liar. Big hairdo can't cover that fakeness. She didn't even have any tears. He hands her a box of tissue. There's not a tear. Now remember, I wear glasses and shades, and I assure you, if I'm crying, my glasses get foggy. Anybody's do. That shit of a wig, right? She wore that wig today just so they couldn't see her face. She should have just wore a mask like Jarvis did. Why not? Just walk in with a ski mask. I know.
Right, an additional reminder, if you're going to have difficulty controlling yourself, now would be a good time to leave.
Sir, I use suggestion.
Look at this guy back here. Dude, these people are pissed. Now, these are the people behind Jarvis that support him, and you've got the other side behind prosecution. And boy, they don't like the fakery here. And this is him the whole time during sentencing. He puts his head down and he looks like and acts like he's either cognitively, what did she say? Cognitive despair, what'd she say? Or I don't want to say it wrong, but something's wrong with you, boy. Blah, blah. You sure do have a party mouth. I bet that's what happened. Okay. Look at him.
I'm sorry, were you through now?
No, Judge, I'm going to finish reading the written statement for you.
Oh, very good. You can return to your seat now.
Look at this mother, man.
Let her get situated and then you can proceed.
Cognitively impaired. Thank you.
Mr. Butts, you do have the right to speak on your own behalf before the court imposes sentence. Mr. Butts, did you wish to speak?
Mr. Butts is declined.
That was him. He declined. He said no. And that's it, guys. We've been here for over 2 hours. We need justice for Desire. This case is not over until her body is brought home. Cognitively impaired. Yes, I didn't want to say it wrong, but I thought that was funny because I felt the same way. We saw him talking, bragging. We see the text messages. He sure was fine with the, I was going to say the ladies, but he didn't. He just got any lady that would let him knock her up, and then he would do that with the children. This is one of the worst cases that I've ever seen, guys. So yes, justice for Nasiah. This guy did die. They do claim that he took his own life. It is under investigation, but I cannot imagine a prison telling us that it was their fault. Even if it were another person in the cell that did this, it's still their fault and they could be sued. So I really doubt they're ever going to really tell us what happened. Yeah, cognitively impaired. All right. Praying shall be found. They all know did nothing. They should lock them. I agree. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Good night. Sleep well. Rebecca says you came in late. Go back, rewatch it. Guys, we need justice for Nasiah. This monster didn't even serve 2 weeks of his time. He was in the processing center. And look at how big this guy is. 6'2", 170 pounds, 43 years old, doing that to 4-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 13-year-olds. Now, in my opinion, Nasiah aged out for him, okay? She aged out because, well, guess what? Little girls have their period around 11, 12 years old. And guess what, Jarvis? When girls have their period, they get pregnant. This guy, he's a monster. May he rest in hell. I know, it's okay. Better late than never. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. I am grateful that I don't have to cover this case all the time. Here's an update. I assure you, if I see search efforts for Nasiah or updates, they find her, I will come back and keep you posted on that. Although this is a hard case and talking about this stuff is like, I don't want to do it often. Twin mommy, Melissa, I've been here listening, cleaning. Good night. Love you too, Melissa. All right. Prayers for Nasiah and everybody else. Good night. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Hitting that like, share, and hype if you get the option. See you guys again tomorrow. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Good night, guys. Love you. Smoking. This guy. I like this guy. Go sub up to him as well. Good night, guys.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?